Avash left me a comment asking what's the process I would go through in order to memorize 100,000 digits of pi. That's right, 100,000 digits of pi. So as you can tell, that is a lot of numbers to memorize. And so of course in this video, I'm not gonna actually memorize all of these digits because it'd probably be I don't know, week, month, who knows. But I'll explain the process I would do in order to memorize this amount of information. Now, you can apply this to phone numbers. If you want to memorize a phone book, it's pretty much the same concept, right? But just a little bit different because you have to match a phone number with a specific person. This is just pure numbers. So now the method is very simple, but just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. By no means is this easy, 100,000 digits of pi. That's a lot. So the first thing I would need to do is I need to figure out what I'm comfortable with in terms of how many digits I can memorize per day. So each line here is 50 digits. So 2 lines, that's going to be 100, 4, 200, and so on, right? And so I would have to figure out, okay, what's a certain amount of digits I can memorize every single day for sure. So of course, I could memorize 1,000 digits of pi, but I might not be able to do that every single day. And so I need to be consistently working on this. A day can't go by where I don't memorize some digits of pi. Because if that happens, I'm going to fall back and everything is just going to completely suck from there. Now, let's say I do 100 digits per day. So what that means is it's going to take me 1,000 days to memorize 100,000 digits of pi. So that's a lot of days. So if I do 200 digits of pi, now it's going to take me 500 days. And so of course, the more you memorize, the faster you're going to memorize all the digits of pi, but you got to make it manageable. So for me, maybe what's manageable would be 500 digits of pi per day. And so that's the first thing I would have to do. Figure out that amount of digits I want to memorize per day. Now, of course, you're going to need a number system of some sort. It really doesn't matter what number system. Of course, if you have a more complex number system, it's going to be a lot better because pretty much every single combination is going to repeat in its 100,000 for the most part. But if you had a single digit number system like 1 sun 2 shoe, it would be a living nightmare because everything's going to repeat a lot of times, right? Thousands of times. And so you don't want that, right? So you want at least a 2-digit number system. 3-digit number system would be better, but I believe a PAO would always make things a little bit more interesting because of all the different combinations you would have. So I would recommend a 2-digit PAO. Of course, anything above that, like a 3-digit PAO, would be fantastic as well. And so you need your number system. And then from there, you just have to start planning it out. So you would have to get, a calendar, make a schedule. Okay, so this day is going to be 500 digits. This day is going to be 500 digits and repeating the last ones and so on. Because what you have to do every single day, so let's say you memorize 200 digits of pi. By the end of the day, you have to be 100% sure that you know those 200. There can't be any mistakes or anything. Because if you make a mistake, what's going to happen is eventually everything's going to start piling on and you cannot review all the previous digits of pi that you memorized because you're going to have so many digits to currently memorize, but also there's a point where you can't review everything previously. So if you're down here, there's no way you can review all of these in one day and still be okay. With the amount of time it takes, it's going to be a huge amount of time that you're sinking into reviewing just by itself. And so that's why when you end a day memorizing, you have to make sure however many you memorize per day, you got those down 100%. So when we go to the calendar over here, so every day, let's say it's 500 digits that you're memorizing. So this is day 1. So day 2, you memorize your 500 digits, and then you review the last ones. And then day 3, you memorize your new 500, and then you review the 2 last ones. And so you have to figure out for yourself, where's the point of X amount of reviews that you're confident you have this down. So let's say for 1 week, you memorize or you review the first 500 every single day for a week. So seven days, right? Now, maybe that's good enough for you because you review them so many times. And so it's very clear. now you can start deciding, okay, can I start skipping every other day, or maybe do I have to do it every third day? So you have to start to figure out when you have to review these initial 500. Because what's going to happen is, yes, you might get it down for like the first week, right? 1 week later, you review it every single day. But then, I don't know, after a week or two, you have, you know, you have a lot more digits of pi in your memory. And so these ones, if you don't start reviewing them again, they start to fade. And that's the hardest thing to this challenge, to memorizing 100 digits of pi, is that once you skip a review and you don't review some of the previous digits, you're going to start forgetting them. And that's where the nightmare happens. And so I would even recommend, you know, having Google Docs, making your document for day 1, 500 digits. Day 2, 500 digits. And so you're pretty much chunking everything. So if you're really weak on one, you can specifically jump to it. You don't have to go to a page like this, you know, like, okay, wait, which one was the 500 digit again, and go through, because you would have each specific document that represents 500 digits for whatever day. And so the hardest part is the reviewing process. Memorizing is not that hard. It's kind of more tedious, because depending on how many digits, you know, oh crap, I have 1,000 digits to memorize today. Let's get to it. And so it's pretty simple. The only thing that you might run into are your images repeating, which kind of is a pain, because having repeat images sometimes could throw you off. Like, wait, I think I saw this, you know, like, oh yeah, in day 1, and oh yeah, that was the same image as day 25. Okay, so that could kind of throw you off a bit. And of course, to store all this, it'd be a memory palace. That should be very obvious. Anything else would be a living nightmare. And so you would have to build a stockpile of memory palaces. And you would have to have a lot of memory palaces depending on how you're breaking everything up. So if you just want to have, you know, one memory palace that could hold 500 digits worth, you know, there you go. You'll be good. But you might have to have multiple memory palaces. And so it kind of depends on how you create your locations and how many digits you want per location. So all those things factor in. And so that's going to be a long process in itself, creating memory palaces. Now, of course, for 100,000 digits of pi, you wouldn't be able to create them all before you needed to in order to start. I would say you have to create a decent amount of memory palaces, start memorizing, and then I guess every day start building some other palaces, so you always have palaces. You never want to get to a point where, oh crap, I ran out of all my palaces, now I can't memorize any digits. And so now you have to spend all your time trying to create palaces, so you might rush, and that's going to lead to a whole bunch of problems, that your palace might be completely crap. And so you don't want to ever get into that point, because now you're going to fall days behind. Because if you do, you know, 100 digits per day, that's going to be 1,000 days, 200, 500 days, and so on, right? And so that's why it's so crucial for you never to skip a day of memorization and reviewing especially. And so for palaces, create a whole bunch of palaces, as many as you can that are good. You know, don't just create a palace just because you need a palace. Create a decent amount of palaces. Then from there, you start adding the palaces every single day, just like how you're memorizing 500 digits or whatever it may be every single day. So you're always going to have palaces. You know, you never want to run out. And that's pretty much it. That's the process I would do in order to memorize 100 digits of pi. Now, this is my word of caution if anyone wants to do this. Now, the record, I'm not sure. I think it's a lot more. It might be like 500,000 digits. I'm not sure. It's a lot, okay? If you're going to do this, I would question what the purpose is behind it, because you cannot use this in any aspect besides it being an amazing memory feat. No one's ever going to listen to, okay, I guess world record people would have to listen, right? But no regular person would listen to you say 100,000 digits of pi, because that is just boring, and you're just saying a whole bunch of random digits, and probably after, I don't know, 3.141, you can just say any random number, and people are like, oh yeah, really? Cool. And so that's the only thing I would question is, why are you memorizing this? What's the purpose? And yeah, if you want to do it for a memory feat, you know, go for it. But if you just want to do it just because you want to see if you could do it, that's not a good reason, because this is a time sink. You know, there's so much time you have to put into this, so many palaces, so many days of reviewing, so many days of memorization, you know, and so you just have to make sure that if you want to attack this, that you're dedicated, because there's going to be so much time in it. But I give you that, if you got it, it'd be like one of the coolest things ever. You know, most people, memory athletes, don't memorize 100,000 digits of pi. You know, I think the only people that do it are people who trying to break the record. And so it's just kind of a cool thing that you can say, hey, I have 100,000 digits of pi, but you also go learn so much about how to memorize numbers for you doing this. So besides, you know, having the feat, you can figure out, okay, you know, when I have these images, repeat images, or, you know, I forget these images a lot, you could really learn a lot of problems that are going to come up when memorizing digits, because you have 100,000 to memorize them, right? And so you're going to figure out a lot about memorizing numbers for you. So I can say that's another great thing you would probably learn, memorizing all of these numbers, that you'll be a master at memorizing numbers. You may not be a master at memorizing quickly, depending on how you actually, you know, test yourself. Like, okay, I got 500 digits today, boom, let's see how fast I can do it. So you always test yourself. Man, you're getting really fast at memorizing digits, right? And so, so yeah, so that's the process. Those are some notes I have on doing something like this. If you do something like this, let me know, because you're my kind of crazy. I love it. Something, you know, most people would do, a lot of the suffering in it, but man, it'd be amazing. So yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. And don't worry, I have all these different videos to catch up on. I'm getting to them.